Now, most of us remember Betty Ford as being an inspiring First Lady, but it's her family that's remembering her as an extraordinary mother and grandmother. And right now, we're joined in studio with family spokesman, McLogan, to explain a little bit about what the services mean to the family here. And we were talking here during the commercial break about some really interesting coincidences that have occurred here during this week of Betty coming home. And what were those? Can we go over those a little bit?
Good morning, Brett. I think there are two things that are really remarkable about the end of this week. First, the replica of Mr. Ford's statue, the one that was unveiled in the and is now on display in the rotunda of the U.S. Capitol in Washington, was to have been unveiled this week in Grand Rapids in time for his birthday, which is today. And so when Mrs. Ford's casket and the children and grandchildren arrived on the plaza of the Ford Museum yesterday afternoon, the first thing they saw when they turned the corner heading toward the building was the statue of their father and grandfather, and I observed some of the children and grandchildren saluting the statue. And now
stopping and seeing it, and actually it was probably for several of them, a number of them, the first time they'd seen it, because there's the duplicate that was unveiled in the rotunda in the Capitol.
Exactly.
But not everybody was there for that unveiling, and so this may be the first time they've been in person seeing the statue.
And now the day will end following the repose this morning and the funeral service this afternoon at Grace Episcopal Church. The family will return to the grounds of the Ford Museum for the interment, and Mrs. Ford will be laid to rest in the burial vault next to her husband on his birthday. And I think those two events are really very poignant bookends for this extraordinary week.
Yeah, very touching. I mean, when you consider the fact that it will occur on the day that he was born. He'll be reunited with his wife.
It's astounding, actually. It really is.
Wow. So as we go through this day here, what can we look forward to seeing happen?
The repose will resume this morning at 7. Members of the public may file by the casket and pay their respects to Mrs. Ford, sign the condolence book, which is in the DeVos Convention Center. The museum grounds will close sometime between 10 and 11. The family will return, and the cortege will, in caravan, will leave the grounds of the museum sometime afternoon and head toward East Grand Rapids for the funeral service, which will begin at 2 p.m. Members of the public are welcome and invited to file through the repose this morning if they wish, or to stand on the route of the funeral procession as they go to East Grand Rapids. Then following the funeral service, which begins at 2, the family and the casket will return to the Ford Museum for a private burial site around 4 o'clock.
All right. Thank you so much, Matt McLogan. We appreciate you coming in this morning to talk us through that.
Thank you, Brett.